individual articles. And also, so in the applied life sciences in your fields, most of the stuff that is contemporary it's probably indexed in the databases already. So if you're thinking about think of book chapters, so book chapters these days often behave like a journal article, and they're indexed for all major databases. So if you and they're indexed at that chapter level, so you can go to a database and do a search, and it will also find if it's meeting the search criteria, it will find book chapters. And then you have to decide whether you want that, or whether you can suppress that, or you can filter this out if it's not. But the library catalog, I guess that's all I'm saying, is it's not the only place to find books and book chapters. But it's definitely for that. And then the Ohio link is just all the Ohio link libraries. So we have 88 libraries in Ohio, including the State Library of Ohio. And you can request any item from Ohio Link, and it works both ways. They can request from us as well. And then Search Ohio is all the public libraries. And then WorldCat is just sort of the meta catalog. So all the libraries of the world basically submit their holdings into WorldCat. It's not complete, and it's often you'll see some duplication in there, but it's a pretty good resource. So I'll show you how this works. Let's go back to the library homepage. So this is the library homepage, and it defaults to a tool that's called Discover. So I would just say ignore it. Discover is a tool that we developed internally. I think it has its merits. So it's designed to kind of surface our own materials that are not easily discoverable otherwise. It has a lot of other things, but it's not for your purpose. It's probably not where it should be at this point. So I think you can explore yourself, but just don't start your search here. It says books, but you play around with that, and you will see it will not really find you a lot of good stuff. It will find you something because we have lots of holdings, but it probably will not find you what you're really needing for. Same with the WorldCat at OSU. That is the sort of the WorldCat catalog for books, but then it's also, and that is a little bit confusing. You also threw in a number of databases. So Academic Search Complete is, you probably have used that as an undergrad student, and it's probably good place. It gets probably what most undergrad students need, will be in that database. I think that's probably a fair statement. And then we throw in a lot of other things. But in grad school, I think it will fall short on what you need. So this is sort of a Google-like search with just one search box, and it kind of searches everything, but it's actually very limited in what it searched beyond. So it gives you the impression that, there's a lot of content out there, but you will see a lot is not really relevant, even if you have the advanced search and you can filter things. So I guess ignore that as well. And then that's the third tab is really, I wish that would be the default for you. And I wish we could change that. You log in and then automatically, you can set it to books and more, because that really gives you the catalog. Okay. So if you then maybe do the soybean thing again, you just do a search in the catalog. And then, we'll find whatever we have in there. It defaults to keyword search, and you can change that if you know its exact title, or if you have an author name or something like that, or if you have a subject name. And then all you really do is you go down, just going down to it's all here's an ebook. So if it's an ebook, you'll have just the link in here, and really it doesn't matter. If say off campus, but you can use any link, and it will connect you. If you have Springer link, if it's a Springer book in this case, go to Springer link. If you go to Ohio link, it's just a terrible platform. You will see if it's a Springer link, it will get you right to an exact copy of that book, and you can download the whole thing and do whatever you need to do with it.
Florian,
Yes.
that search tab says books and more. Is that really books though? I usually use that for books. Books and more. That's not
So
journals. Is it?
so it no, it's so it I guess it's to differentiate it from the other searches. So I mean, you mean the books and more? Yeah, because it's not just books. So if it's also it finds like other media types as well. So it finds books, ebooks, but also if you have a DVD or a microfiche, microform, and then these type of things. It will not find articles. It will not find journal articles, but it will find a database. So if you search for Web of Science or Scopus or something, it will find that, but it will not find any articles within that. So I guess the only thing I wanted to show you is the soybean. So if you cannot find anything, or if the item you want is checked out, you can go to a higher link and then do the same search there. And then once you do that, you can escalate this to Search Ohio as well. And that gives you access to the public libraries. In this case, it's probably not very useful, but just to show you that you can, you can do that. And then you can request any of these items and have it delivered to, to wherever you are. Okay, so we spent a little bit more time on the catalog than I wanted to. So ignore Discover, ignore WordCat, and go straight to books and more. I guess that's the message here. Okay, so any questions about that? Okay, so I think where most needs are on the side of journal articles. So research databases is probably where you spend most of the time in. And we have lots of databases for all kinds of subject fields. So this is where we hope this guide come in handy. It breaks it down in sort of pre-selected. I pre-selected some databases that I think are mostly relevant, and it's probably still way too much. If you go to the library, the research database list here, I think we have like more than 50 databases in there for agriculture, for the applied life sciences. So here I probably have 10, and these are probably too many. So I guess the first three, if you're in grad school, it's really Web of Science and Scopus. Those are general bibliographic research databases. They probably cover everything you ever need. And a lot of faculty just use Web of Science, and if it's not in there, then it's probably not, it's not relevant. So there are a few journals, and there are stuff that's really not in scholarly journals. So, but that's, I guess that's the only exception here. So you will find hopefully everything in any of these databases. And then if you go down a little bit, these are subject-specific databases. So you have to look a little bit the scope of your topic and make sure it actually is indexed properly in these databases. Otherwise, you do a search and you don't get a lot of results. It could be part of your search, but then so maybe you don't have the right search terms, or you didn't build the right search. But it could also be that the database just doesn't have the right scope for what you need. So you have to kind of look a little bit. You can check with me if you have questions. So I think the Web of Science database is probably where I would start. Whatever you need. So I don't know how much, but I have used that before. And I'm watching the clock here a little bit, so I don't want to really spend too much on this. So it has a number of databases under that. So you can do a search, in Web of Science, and will search all these databases. But you can also you can select a database if you know. If you know why you're doing this. So Web of Science core collection that's all the if you have it about the journal impact factor, all the journals that are considered for that metric will be in the Web of Science core collection. So it really covers the core of the sciences and life sciences. So those are all the leading journals in there. It's probably fair if you only use the Web of Science core collection. It's probably a fair, an appropriate approach there, I would say. But maybe you're more in the biological sciences or health sciences. CAP abstract as an example. If you're more on the agriculture, like more on the production side, commodity side, so you can go in and just search that database as well. And you have, depending on what it is, you have a few more capabilities. So for example, if you have the CAP abstract database, there are thesaurus in there, controlled vocabulary that you can use to create some really powerful searches, and you would need to be in that database to actually access that tool. The other thing, so you can just, you can just add things. So this is not the time to really talk about how to do a search. So, but the basic idea is, you have your topic and you think about your topic. Maybe you phrase this as a question, as a research question, and then you kind of identify your major concepts that are in that question, and you may come up with, so maybe you're interested like in soybeans in the Midwest under climate change or something like that. So that's a simple example. So yeah, there's 3 concepts right there. And so you would go in and think about the soybean concept first and see what are synonyms, alternative terms, and those you can just search around, and then you add the second term or the second concept, and then the third one, and then you run your searches all together. So there's a lot of options in that. So I would just do something very simple. If you do something soybean and climate change, right? I guess the only point I really want to make is that's Web of Science. It's also Scopus and also Google Scholar. Those are databases that also track citations. So it tracks whether an article how often an article has been cited. Okay, so that's how the journal impact factor is calculated. But that's a very powerful search tool that you only have in these databases. So let's just click on maybe this result. So you see it highlights the search terms. So soybean is in there, but it looks like climate change is not really. It only shows up in the keywords. So if you do a topic search, it will search the title, the abstract, and the keywords. And then you have all the references here at the bottom. So that's everything that this article is citing. So that goes back, right? So that's a very powerful search to begin with. So somehow these articles are all related. You have to figure out what that is. Could be just maybe they cite because of a method, or maybe that's because they cite this as a review, or it showed up in the discussion. So it could be all kinds of reasons what this citation means. But you can just click on these things, and then you should get access to the to that article or book chapter or whatever it is within this database. So you can do the same. If you have the PDF of this article, that's kind of nice. But then you have to copy and paste all these things. So use a database. It's so much more efficient. And then the other, so this goes back, right? So this is the reference, but then you can also do this with time cited. Let's see if I can go back here. And so it defaults to a date. So you change this to time cited. And then you have an article here that has been cited more than 1,700 times. So whether that means you better cite this or not, it really depends on, on your topic and what you're trying to do. But often these highly cited articles, they might be the first that started a new topic, or, it could be all kinds of reasons. There's also the fact that articles that are already cited highly are getting cited even more highly. So because everybody is using these databases and see, oh, this is so many times, I better cite this as well. Okay, so yeah. So but that's in these databases as well. So it's a very powerful search you can do. You can go to analyze results, and you get a lot of visualization of your results list. You can click on the authors, and you get lists of all the authors, publications that might be of interest. Of course, you can, if you sign in, you can. I'm not sure I can probably I thought I'd hoped it would save my password. So if you sign in, and this applies for all the databases, you can save your search. You can set alerts. So if you come back, if you close the session and you come back, you don't have to start from scratch, or you don't have to keep a second document with all your search terms or searches you tried. You can keep track of this and all this and develop your search that way. You can set an alert, so every time a new topic comes, a new article that meets your search criteria comes in, you will be notified. So you can always keep keep on top of things. If you have saved it in here, like here's a search I did, you can rerun this at any time just to see whether there's some updates. So this might be a bit early, but if you're writing a thesis, or later if you're in a PhD program, you want to make sure that you have the most recent literature when you conclude. So that's one way of quickly rerunning that. And then there are a number of indexes within that database, so you can just leave that on. And okay, and then this is the search that I actually built for this project. So I started down here with 21,000 results, and then went through a number of iterations, and then come out with 15,000, which is still a lot, but it was a systematic map. But you see, you have options here. You can quickly edit the search, and you can combine sets here if you want to search combine this search with that search and something like that. So it can be a really efficient way of building out a good search. Okay. Advertising for Web of Science. Scopus works very similar. It maybe has a nicer interface, but it works very similar. I have a number of tutorials here. I can show you how to do more advanced searches in there, but you can maybe start out with just watching some of these videos. They're just a few minutes. But then there's some additional for about any aspect that you can think of. You can watch some training there for Scopus. Don't think I have one for Google Scholar, but then Academic Search Complete, I also have some tutorials in there that you can watch. Okay, so there I breezed through that. Sorry about that. So the two other topics I just want to touch on, because I think they are really important for grad school. And then one of the things that I did not I could show here is, so you have all the data, of all the, so you have a search and you have to refine it. Now you have all the results and what you do with it. So if you want the full text, I think I didn't mention it, but you just go to the Find It button, and then it will connect you to the full text. But you can export everything. Okay, so you can add it to a marked list, and then it stays within that, in this case, Web of Science, and it stays in your folder. And then you can export the whole folder, or you can just export everything that you have here in different formats. And among them, you can export this just to Excel, or you can export this to EndNote, or you can use any other format. So if you use BibTeX or plain text, or whatever format you might need it. So you can export all the references to for example, a citation management software. And then you do searches in Web of Science, and you do searches in other places. And so you want to combine them and maybe remove duplicates and all that, you have to do this outside these databases. Also, if you work along and you come across a lot of literature that you find interesting, you want to keep track of that instead of just grabbing it, saving it under some strange name in a folder that you probably will not recognize 6 months from now. You can use reference management software to really automate that process. And the software you can download stuff, and then it will automatically rename your PDFs, and you can set all the settings. You can easily grab things. So here's this Zotero connector that I showed earlier. You can do the same for EndNote, and just click on this one. It grabs if it's an article that's on a website, or even if it's just a web page that you found interesting and you want to keep. And then you can go in and you know, have the have the metadata in that folder or a collection within that, whatever tool you're using. And then the beauty is it integrates with your word processor. So as you write your paper or your journal article or your thesis, you can automatically import references from that software tool, and it will format it whatever your department requires, or whatever the journal requires, some style format. And so you don't have to ever format things. In theory, you should never lose track of your citations that way. So you're citing something in your text and it doesn't show in your bibliography or vice versa. That actually should not happening with that. Zotero is free, so you can just download this. So you have to create an account, and then you have a desktop version, and you can have as many as you want on all your devices. So that's really nice. And I know a lot of students, and a lot of faculty that are kind of forced to switch to Zotero because their students are using that, or their staff in their lab are using that, and so they just want to use the same platform. There's some settings that you can set, and here's a link to that, to kind of customizing that. So for example, they have like a full text search feature in there, so you can link to our resources. So you find maybe a citation, but you don't have the full text, and then actually searches for you and uploaded it for you, renames it, puts it in a folder. So this will tell you the settings that you have to make sure that you have to make it all work, and that's for EndNote and also for Zotero. You can set it up so it if you have just the citation, it doesn't take a lot of space. But if you also use this to store your PDFs, which I would recommend you do, then you have to think about storage space, and you can back it up to Box, which is what I set up, but it's not really working for group libraries, so it will corrupt your files. So there's some language in here that so some stuff in here that you probably you want to look at, so you don't end up with corrupted files. So essentially, you have to wait until it's backed up all the way before you can open another instance of your library. EndNote is a lot easier with that, but then if you work in a team and you really want to share that, you have limitations there. So they all have a few differences in there, but I wanted to make you aware. We offer workshops in the Research Commons or through the Research Commons on Zotero, so if you can sign up of these, or EndNote as well. So I think it's not really confined to one product. And there's a few videos that you can watch. So I'm watching the time. I'm almost at the end. So let me know if you have questions about any of these tools, and I can help you if you have questions how to set them up. The only other thing I wanted to mention, and I will skip that, is, and this really might be a bit early, but I wanted to alert you. This is a good time to think about your academic brand or your scholarly brand if you're starting out as a new researcher in that field, and some of you might have done research already, but you certainly will, and you will publish eventually, and so you want to think about how you present yourself to the academic world. So make sure that you're recognized, use same author name, things like that. So if you have, some like first name, if you have a common name in particular, some like first names or middle names, some don't like it, and some use, so there are all kinds of variants. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to looking at your profile and your metrics, when you apply for something or you try to get a faculty position, you have to put this all together. and it helps if it's in one place. All the databases, Web of Science, Scopus, and Google Scholar allow you to set profiles. Some of them are generated automatically, so you want to check how yours look like at some point. It's probably not something you need to do today. The only thing I really want to encourage you is to think about the org ID. If you write a journal article, chances are that you are asked to sign up for one. I wish the university would have automatically enrolled everybody, but we have so many people coming from so many places, you might already have one. So it's the Open Researcher and Contributor ID. And really, it's like a DOI, the digital object identifier, to identify an individual journal article or an ISBN number for the book. This is your ID that will always identify you as that person, or you can tie in all your articles or your publications to that ID, and then it will make the life a lot easier for Google Scholar and Scopus and Elsevier and all these databases to keep track of your academic work. And it will help you with your metric at some point. I think I will pause there. I think I used up all my time, which is I always wanted to. I want to leave time for questions, so maybe we can see whether we have any questions. So I guess that's what I want to say.
Thanks, Florian. I think that those tutorials, those video tutorials, are really helpful for using these databases and the citation managers. So we'll keep those bookmarked. And then it's the guides.osu.edu/pp will lead you to where he is now. But also you can find the library.osu.edu for the main page. And a lot of books are now ebooks.
Yeah, I would say that, in the applied life sciences, almost aside from some are historic content, and there's some niche publishers that we still have with, but for the most part, I would say probably 90%, 95% of all the resources that you would need are available electronically. And if they are, in the few cases where they aren't, we have Article Express and we have Interlibrary Loan to get you digital copies. So you should, and if the concern is about being in a virtual environment, you should be able to get around physical materials, really. I hope so. I think the sciences and applied life really have made the conversion to electronic resources. But some people still prefer to have a book in their hand. So if you have a book that we don't automatically upgrade to the ebook if it's available. So we look at our usage stats if you make that decision. But if you get a request, that's all we need, and then we purchase the ebook. We also tend to do like the big publishers, like the ebook deal. So we have all content from Springer and Taylor and Francis and Oxford, and all the big publishers. We just buy everything they have and everything they publish. Now they're finding a way around this, and so sometimes they have like professional titles, textbooks or something like that they find a way around these deals, and then you think it's Springer and you should have it, and we don't because it's considered a textbook or something like that. So let us know if you encounter one of these, but we should have access to these, to most of things that you would need. Yeah. What else?
Wow, thank you, Florian. Let's see, any questions either out loud or in the chat? Yeah, there's a thank you there.
Sure.
And again, Florian is accessible virtually right now, but normally housed in on the Columbus campus in the FAES Library, which is across the street from Cotman Hall. So it's not too far away. And as you said, reduced hours there. once the semester starts.
Yeah, so next, I think next Wednesday, right, a week from now. No, it's Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday, we start on Tuesday, yes. So we will open for 30 hours. If you need anything right now, let me know and we can probably work something out. But yeah, we should. Same with the CFAES Worcester Campus Library. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
So yeah, I think it will become clear once you're on the way and you're in your classes and you do start your research and develop your I guess your research interests and your topics and all that, and then so hopefully you remember us and you're not just thinking as libraries behind this. We're happy behind the scenes and providing you access if it's as seamless as possible. So if you don't need us, that's great. But if you get stuck somewhere, or if you just feel there's a better way of doing things, or if you feel like you really should have access to this article or to this book, but you just cannot seem to find out why that is, then you just by all means let us know, and we will work on that.
Yeah, that includes like newspapers and magazines and documentaries and media.
Yeah. I skipped all this, so there's some tabs on statistical data sets, and then some news articles. So we have 3 major newspaper articles. So that's nice if you need to like frame an article or just want to see how a topic is perceived in the press or something. We also have Press Reader, which gives you access to a lot of e-copies. So some of the news databases have the problem you only get access to the text. So we have like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, but we don't get really access to the e-copy. You just get access to the text, and often it's the graphics and the images that makes it so interesting, right? And the layout, and you cannot get that. But Press Reader will give you an exact copy of that day. So if you want to read the Columbus Dispatch or something, or you can go to the Press Reader and you will get a copy of that. Yeah, here's a Press Reader. So that's really nice, a really nice tool, and it has all over the world in there. So not every newspaper there is, but many. So that's a really nice tool. But then Newsstream and then Access are the 2 major news databases. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there's dissertation and theses. Let us know, because a lot of those are electronic.
Yeah, so I did not, I think I skipped over this. So there is chat window. So under the research database list, I think I have that link in the database. There is a tab for dissertations and thesis, dissertation and thesis. And that's, I think that the 2 that are really relevant is the Ohio link. So that's the EDT that has all the dissertation thesis that was done here in Ohio. It goes back to probably 10, 15 years. We scanned all dissertations that were ever done at Ohio State and made them available. I don't think we have every batch already available that we scan. I think all of CFAES is in there, going back to almost 100 years now, or maybe 100 years now. So that should be in there. If you cannot find a dissertation, let me know, and I can get access. And then the other one is the ProQuest dissertation and thesis. So that's sort of the any dissertation basically in North America and many in Europe are in that ProQuest database. So almost all in full text. Master theses are not all the theses are in there, but dissertations are all in there. So if you want to kind of look at examples, so those are the 2 places I would look for. So you want to know what others have done in your department, so you would use the EDT, but just dissertation in general, you can find there. Now, if you want European ones, so this is there are a few places, and just let me know, and I can help you. There's some database. It's called BASE. It's the Bielefeld Academic Search Engine. and that has a pretty comprehensive coverage of all the citations that came out of European institutions. So you might want to look at to that. But I can help you with that if you need find dissertation on a topic. But that's we didn't really talk about this, but that's there are a number of open source databases that might be useful. Like BASE is an example. There's AgEconSearch. There's AGRIS from the FAO. So there's a lot of research that is not indexed in the commercial databases that might be useful. So we can talk about this when we're closer and you actually have a question about this.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
I want to just add that Florian and Nikitina and I are also working on a gallery exhibit for the Thompson Library to celebrate International Year of Plant Health. So in the Thompson Library in the Columbus campus, there's a gallery space, and we had sent in a proposal and got approved. And so we're really excited about that. But of course, the gallery is closed right now. So we're going to talk about reschedule. Hopefully we can reschedule it sometime in the future, or even now galleries are going virtual exhibits. But it was for 2020 as the International Year of Plant Health from the United Nations. And so there's a lot going on with just promoting the message of healthy plants. So there'd be opportunities for anybody interested to get involved. We were envisioning, tours and electronic resources there. So that'll be maybe re-envisioned or just happen in the future, not this year, and maybe not International Year of Plant Health anymore, but it'll still celebrate, the work of plant health very broadly. It's the idea is to show people how plants really interact with all kinds of areas, from medicine, certainly, to insect, forest health, and favorite foods, and even nature and aesthetics and art. So, all right, with that, I'll stop. If any other questions there?